Welcome to Pause with Polly in our season of Lent. This week we are starting our fourth week in Lent, and we are going to have conversations about generosity. And today, March 30th, Sunday, it is about an unexpected gift. And we are starting with Luke 6:38. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. So reading our booklet for this lesson, where the author, the writer, she mentions about cycling one day. She was with a group cycling, going up a mountain, and they were towards the end of it, and they had no more energy just to climb up the mountain to be where they were supposed to be. They were like, no, we cannot do it. And just when they most needed, a person driving a pickup truck drove by them and gave them a ride to where they needed to go. So thinking about that, how things work in this beautiful universe of ours, it reminded me of my own story of about a year or two ago. I was standing in line at the grocery store. The supermarket was super busy. The person ahead of me had quite the shopping cart to be checked out, and I was just holding my loaf of bread, just that. But I was super okay with waiting, because I had no rush actually. So I was just content, waiting, looking, and observing how things were happening. As the cashier reached to one of the last items for that person, the lady just looked at me, looked at the cashier, said, "Oh, please include her bread in my account." I was, what? At first I was really caught off guard, and my instinct was probably show that in my face. It was just to say, no, that's okay, I don't mind waiting, it's fine. But interesting enough, before I could get the words out of my mouth, something else came, and I just accepted. I looked at the person, to that lady, I smiled, and I simply said thank you. It was such a small thing. It was just a loaf of bread. But in that moment, kind of became something much bigger, much greater. It was unexpected. I had not asked for that. And yet it reached me in a way that I had not anticipated. So looking back, I realized that beyond the bread, that person, a stranger, actually gifted me the experience of generosity in its most pure form. She didn't know me. She didn't expect anything in return. She simply saw an opportunity to give, and she took it. That moment, like when I was reading in the booklet the story, boom, I connected to that moment. So it means that moment stayed with me. I have not really done something in that way for someone else yet. I would say yet I have not done something that very same way, but I can say that her gesture really planted a seed, and it reminded me that generosity isn't always grand or planned. It can be just something spontaneous, something small, which is actually deeply meaningful. So as we are moving into this week, the fourth week of Lent, continuing with our reflections and tapping into our own faith in here in our hearts, I invite you to consider any expected moment of generosity that happened to you in your life. When have you been on the receiving end of it? Receiving end of an act of kindness? What was it like? How did it make you feel? And sometimes being at the end of it, like receiving something, for us is sometimes more complicated, a lot more complicated, because it's like, whoa, what's going on here? It's much easier for us to give. than to receive. But generosity is both, is giving and receiving. I also think of your journey and looking ahead. Where might you have opportunities to offer something to someone else? Just because it's in there to be offered. It's in here in your heart to be offered. And always remember that generosity is as simple as paying for somebody's or for a stranger's loaf of bread. And sometimes it is offering an active listening to somebody. It can be a word of encouragement to somebody, or just simply showing up for someone who needs you to be there. Doesn't matter, no matter the way it happens, it has the power to stay with us. It has the power to shape us. And it has the power to remind us that we are all connected through giving and receiving. And that this grace flows between the two of them, giving and receiving. It's a cycle, it's a balance. So may we open our hearts to generosity, both in giving and receiving. And may we recognize that sometimes the smallest gifts leave the deepest imprints on our souls. Thank you for being here. Make it a wonderful week. I'll see you next.
Thank you.